Back on the racist beat, Stephen Miller, who one of those bugs, he and Mick Mulvaney seem to be the sort of the cockroaches in this administration, and they bring Stephen Miller out. His project is very much, I think, grounded in white nationalism. They bring him out apparently to speak to the masses. I also think that they're going like, who better than to bring out our fascistic Jew in the administration to go out and leverage anti-Semitism and also deliver for the white supremacists? Like, there's nobody can do it better. He can speak to both. Good.
You are the president's senior policy advisor and his chief speechwriter. His tweets this week about those 4 congresswomen, and let's put them up. Why don't they go back and help fix the totally broken and crime-infested places from which they came, are the latest in a long string of controversial comments by Mr. Trump, some of which I know that you helped draft. Here are a few.
I want him to show his birth certificate. There's something on that birth certificate that he doesn't like. They're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people. Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States. You had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white nationalists, okay? And the press has treated them absolutely unfairly.
Why shouldn't someone see all of that as racist?
I think the term racist, Chris, has become a label that is too often deployed by the left, Democrats in this country, simply to try to silence and punish and suppress people they disagree with, speech that they don't want to hear. The reality is that this president has been a president for all Americans.
There you go. There it is, taking a page out of the IDW.
It's the same as the Sam Harris playbook, where it's like, because that word racist comes into it, all of a sudden we can't continue the conversation. Why not?
That's right.
Yeah. And when he says all Americans, that's also a dog whistle, because he considers certain people to be more American than others.
And what is it exactly, like, what would they continue to say? Like, the charge is that it's racist. And if you use that charge, there's no way for me to explain that telling these women of color to go back where they came from and assuming that they're from a different country and they're not American. Like,
they want to lead people on a scenic route to reach racist conclusions without it being termed racist. And the term racism really gives people a shortcut into where they're going with stuff that lets anybody identify it.
Here's the problem with that term racism. It forgets that the journey is part of the destination. And you're not able to enjoy all the good sort of like...
Come on the nuanced journey with us.
Exactly. Let's build this wall of white supremacy, one tiny brick at a time. And if you just jumpstart the whole process and get to 12 feet high on the get-go, it's just no fun. Here he is. He continues on as on Fox News Sunday with Chris Wallace.
It's impossible to read the quote that way. The quote, what she's trying to say is there's a debate.
This idea of 10% better from garbage shouldn't be what we settled for.
No,
she's talking about her proposal.
All right, pause it. Okay, what they're talking about is Donald Trump's gone on there and said that she's calling the country a garbage place. And in fact, go back a little bit. Can you go back a little bit earlier so we can actually hear the quote from AOC? AOC is basically saying we need to have proposals that address the problems, not garbage proposals that just help things 10%, is basically what it is. And so, and Chris Wallace is saying, like, how can you possibly interpret that as saying that the country is garbage? Now, this stuff is so, the bottom line is they win when it gets this granular. When it becomes like, wait a second, if you move the comma over here and you move it, like, first off, she's not calling the country garbage. Second off, so what if she is? Does that justify telling her to go back to where she came from and fix it, like as if it's a different country? She comes from the Bronx.
It's impossible to read the quote that way. The quote, what she's trying to say is there's a debate.
He said, this idea of 10% better from garbage shouldn't be what we settled for.
No,
she's talking about her proposal.
It's literally impossible to read the quote that way. What she's saying is there's a debate in the Democratic Party in which some people want to improve, in her mind, 10% from garbage, which maybe we'll say is Obamacare, where she wants to do, say, Medicare for all, which she views as being, I guess, 70% better than garbage. Her point is, we're starting at garbage. Some want to go a little better than garbage.
I understand
and she
that.
wants to go way better than garbage.
But she's talking about policy.
No, she's saying her starting point.
She's not talking about the country and the people.
She's saying
is garbage such a horrible word?
She's saying that America, in her view, right now is garbage. But more.
Well, no. Then I want to put something up on that regard, because I want to put up a tweet from Donald Trump from 2014. He wrote, "The United States under President Obama has truly become the gang that couldn't shoot straight. Everything he touches turns to garbage." Stephen, that isn't AOC. That's Donald J. Trump.
Throughout this interview, Chris, you're continuing to conflate Donald Trump's criticisms of President Obama versus AOC's deep and systemic criticisms of the country itself. And so let me just cut to the heart of the issue. These four congresswomen detest America as it exists, as it is currently constructed. They want to tear down the structure of our country. They want it to be a socialist, open borders country. If you, as Donald Trump says, want to destroy America with open borders, you cannot say you love your country.
So understand, he's not out there to defend Donald Trump in this. That last segment right there, every time he keeps going back to the original point is, he's saying these four represent the browning of America. That's what he's saying. When he says they're for open borders and socialism, what he is saying is they are for diminishing the white nature of this country. And white is bound up with a whole bunch of other values that existed, or we told ourselves existed, when white people's power in society was completely unchallenged. Completely unchallenged. And in fact, not only completely unchallenged, but celebrated. And that's what they're doing here. He's not going on and defending Donald Trump. Understand this. This is the double down on the double down. And they're just going to keep doing this. Some days they'll do it. They'll do it a little. They'll say the quiet parts a little bit quieter. Sometimes they'll say the quiet parts a little bit louder. But this is what we're going to have for the next 12 months, 13 months, 14 months. Jesus, 15 months, 16 months, 16 months.
Yes. 16 months. Okay, stop.
15 and a half months.
All right, that's a wrap.
If we're lucky.